Today we're making my mom's recipe for the best pumpkin bars. It uses a whole can of pumpkin. Yeah, none of that half can and putting the rest in the fridge. We're gonna make a cream cheese frosting. I'm gonna take you through each step so you can make the best of fall 2 right in these bars. Let's go. Pumpkin bars are super simple, and they're also the best thing to make when you first get that just hint of crisp fall air. It's one of my favorites. It's what I grew up with, and it's the most nostalgic to me, thinking of smelling those at home, mom making them, getting home from school, and just eating. Well, I probably ate way too many of them, but as many as I wanted. So what we're gonna start with is the base, which is really simple. It's gonna start with eggs. Now, what I always like to do anytime I'm working with eggs, especially when you're working with the wet ingredients, I like to put them in a bowl and then whisk them first. They're gonna just work up easier into whatever you're making, so it's easier that way to make sure they're evenly combined. So I'm throwing the eggs right in here, and we're just gonna whisk them until they're smooth. You can see after you get them whisked, see how they nicely fall? There's none of those whites or yolks separated. That's what you want. So now we can move on with all the other wet ingredients. So the first one's gonna be pretty common, right? It's pumpkin. Now I will say in this case, canned pumpkin really does make a difference. And I know we like to make our own pumpkin sometimes at home or use home canned pumpkin. The difference is that can be more watery. The texture can be off. You can use it, just know it could change the recipe outcome. So we have the pumpkin in there. We're gonna add some oil. So this is like an oil-based cake, really think of it as, even though they are a bar. And that oil makes sure that they have super moist, delicious crumb. So use an oil that has no flavor. Sometimes that's canola, safflower, grapeseed, anything that you want to use that has no flavor. Then we need our sugar. So we're gonna do 2 types of sugar. We're gonna do just some traditional white granulated sugar. That's gonna go right in there. But then we're also going to put some brown sugar. So that adds those molasses, caramelly notes that are, to me, essential when you're working with pumpkin. And then to finish it, a little bit of vanilla. You need the vanilla to round out all these flavors. Once that vanilla's in there, we can just whisk it until it's smooth. What I like about these is how they're a one bowl wonder. That's what's great about them. So just whisk all the ingredients together. It whisks together really quickly, as you can see. So this is a great one to do with kids. It's a great one to do if you're new to baking or haven't baked a lot, because it gives you all those cozy feels, but it's super easy. So I'm gonna do my flour, and always to just make sure you lighten your flour, I like to scoop it, level it right off. So this is all of our dry ingredients now. So we did the wet first, now we're doing the dry, and that shows how super simple this is. We don't have to do anything extra. So we're gonna put the next flour right in, and then for the dry ingredients, we have some baking soda. We're gonna put it right there. A little bit of baking powder. So both of these are leavening. They both do different things and they're both needed, but just a small amount. We need some cinnamon, and it's a good amount of cinnamon because that's gonna really bring out those fall notes we want in the pumpkin and give us that traditional flavor we're used to. And then some salt. Now I always use kosher salt, so you may need to adjust if you have a different type of salt in your house. Now we can just whisk all that together. So at this point, anytime you add the dry ingredients to your recipe, you've probably read this before, you've probably noticed it, you don't want to over mix. And that's just because once you add something like flour, it starts going to create gluten. And what that can do if you mix it too much is it starts going to get tough. Your crumb isn't as good, but you don't have to worry too much here, but that's why I'm using, you notice, the tines of my whisk, just to kind of gently fold it together. And if there's a few lumps once you're done, just keep whisking a little bit here. But do you see those couple lumps in there? That's okay. Those are gonna bake out kind of like a pancake batter. And now it's smooth. See how easy that was? This is why you don't need an electric mixer. You don't need a hand mixer even for this one. That's what I love about it. You just need what it is. Now I'm banging on, if you follow me, you know, I hate waste. So I try to really get every little bit off of whatever I'm doing. So I have a jelly roll size pan. This is one of those recipes that growing up, you kind of wonder, why do they call for a specific size pan? Probably because whoever started this recipe way back when these were first introduced had a jelly roll pan, and that's what these are made in, but that's what gives you the correct level. So you do want that for this. So that's a 10 by 14 if you don't know what a jelly roll size is. Just like when you make those jelly roll cakes, which I know you're probably not all making every day, but you need that pan in your arsenal so you can use it for things. So we're gonna pour this right in, and you can see that I greased it. You can do a butter if you want, or a baking spray, whatever you're used to, whatever works best for you. So what I do want to do, and guys, these are the things they don't teach you in school. Doing this for camera is not easy, to turn the bowl and have it away from you while you're doing that. So I still have to turn it back to make sure I get it all. But what you want to do is make sure you level it off somewhat. Obviously it self-levels in the oven, but smoothing this out into an even layer is just going to make it essential and just make sure that it actually does bake evenly. So once I have it into all these corners, and I smooth out the top. We're gonna pop it right into our oven, and then we're gonna let it cool. And once it's cool, we're gonna make, yeah, you knew it was coming, a cream cheese frosting. And it's not just a cream cheese frosting, it's the best cream cheese frosting. So I'm gonna put this right in the oven, let it bake, then we'll let it cool. The pumpkin bars baked, and you can see I tested them with a skewer. So when that skewer came out clean, I let them go, let them cool off. They look beautiful, they're perfect. They're the easiest thing. It's like pumpkin bread, it's a no-brainer. So what we're gonna do now is make a frosting. And it's gonna have a good amount of cream cheese and a little bit of butter. Butter helps firm it up and also offset the flavor. So what I like to do first is make sure that that is creamed and smooth. So we're gonna take a mixer and I'm gonna just beat it until it's smooth because I think that's the easiest way to do it. You can see the reason we do this is just so it doesn't have lumps. So every so often I will just make sure in between these steps, I will scrape the sides just to make sure we're evenly. Look at that though, look how smooth and beautiful that is. For cream cheese lovers, this is a dream because it's good. So what we're gonna do is add a couple other things. A little bit of vanilla. You know why, I'm not even gonna explain why, because it's good. And you measure it with your heart. You know I home make my vanilla, so you're apt to even use more because it's even better. And then we're gonna put in some powdered sugar. Now with the powdered sugar, you can see what am I doing? I'm gonna sift it. And that's because you don't want those lumps in there. So we're gonna put it in like this, get another scoop in there, and then just sift that all together. Now, there's one thing here that I did not think about. You know what that is? This is not easy to do, holding something and doing it with one hand. So my measurements were not perfect, but they're gonna work. So just sift it in, because as you know, powdered sugar always has lumps in it. So you wanna get this through to make sure you get all those lumps out. And you can see how simple this is. Now, once this is done, we're just gonna blend this up until it's smooth. And then we're gonna add on, ooh, look at those lumps. Then we're gonna put it on and start frosting it because that's the best part. But look at all that. See, you can just push those through to make sure they're broken up. But if you would've just added them, they don't always break down the best. And if they're hard and don't push through, do not force them. So we're gonna start by mixing it and we'll just lather it on. I'm just finishing up frosting it. I just do a homey kind of like quick swirl on top. Don't make it perfect. This is the best part, guys. This is when you can eat them. So these, since they have that oil in them, just like when a cake has oil, they keep so well. And if you have a freezer, these freeze beautifully. They do, they just stay. Now the frosting always stays slightly soft. So remember that when you freeze them, you wanna do it in a single layer. But can we just take a moment of silence for all that beautiful texture there? That's just gorgeous. That's what you want. Other than I drug my knife through the one side, that's absolutely perfect. It screams fall, and that's what you want. There's nothing to say. It's great. I think this is the case where you understand the reason we use cream cheese frosting. It has this like tanginess that offsets the sweetness with the pumpkin. Works so well with the spices that are in there. That combination is just nostalgic, it's delicious, and it's of the season. That's what you want. So what I hope you do with this, I hope you share it around so everyone can see, yeah, you can make pumpkin bars at home. They're probably gonna be better than what you would buy, and you're gonna enjoy them a lot more. So share this around, check my website, wiseguy.com for this recipe, all my other recipes. Until next time, if you wanna experience some fall, make some pumpkin bars.